Welcome to Flair for Flows. My name is Alyona Zaleskaya, and you're watching a talk show where we discuss everything but relationships. How many senses do we have? You've probably been taught that humans have 5 senses. And let's keep aside for the moment the discussions and argument that there are much more. Let's focus for the moment at the major 5. What are they? Vision, hearing, taste, touch, and smell. Our ability to smell is the most powerful. And very shortly, you will understand why. As the topic of our today's discussion is aromatherapy. When inhaled, what's happening, how it's connected to our body and mind, and how we can bring something new and happiness to the relationship with the help of essential oils. Let me introduce my today's guest, Menaceri. She's a biologist, phytotherapist, and aromatherapist. Mimi, it's such a pleasure to have you today.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
It's such a fascinating topic of discussion. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited.
I know, same here, because it has become such a trend, aromatherapy. And the thing is, it's so vast and it goes such a long way. I can go on forever about it.
Amazing, that's what I want, because as you rightly said, it's a buzzword that so many people use nowadays without understanding the science behind it.
Exactly.
So you as a biologist, you basically spend years of studying the effects of plants, the extracts on the human body and what it can do with our brain.
Exactly.
So you, if not, who else if not you, can tell us about the science behind aromatherapy and how the essential oils connected with our mind and body?
Definitely. I mean, with aromatherapy, it dates back all the way to, the ancient Egyptian times. And when it comes to aromatherapy, it was more medicinal at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, so when it was medicinal, then eventually it became more kind of a perfume-based. They loved the senses, the extracts of the plants, the flowers, the buds, the roots. So they extract every single bit of that plant. So, but with its compounds, it has different versatility in regards to its therapeutic benefits. And that's why most of the essential oils have different effects. So, we're going back from, the ancient Egyptians when they used frankincense, myrrh, and they used sandalwood and cinnamon, all that combination to help preserve the body, to help with the skin, to help in terms of the senses. So most of the kind of the above hierarchy in terms of the ancient Egyptians were very much into the perfume and the jasmine of it, the feminine scent of it. So it has a lot of background in regards to aromatherapy.
Wow, I'm amazed, truly amazed.
Yeah.
It's not about just if it is a good smell or bad smell. It's much deeper meaning.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most people tend to think, because obviously aroma, it stems from the Greek term spices, but then eventually it became more of like fragrances. So people only knew aromatherapy as fragrance as modern medicine became modern medicine. So obviously aromatherapy was forgotten, eventually modern medicine came involved, and then people decided to use aromatherapy as just a fragrance rather than its therapeutic benefit. So that's why I'm really happy to hear that, aromatherapy becoming a trend. And now people really want to know more about aromatherapy, how great it is about it, and what can we do, and, what's good for me and what's good for this person. So, and it's very important, of course, to communicate with someone who's licensed and who knows the background of every single aromatherapy.
So rightly said, because the more it's becoming a fashionable trend, the more fake specialists, let's call them, unfortunately appearing in the markets, who just maybe going online, read few articles, buy a bunch of Chinese synthetic oils and become the aromatherapists. Thinking, because as you rightly said, in the mentality, it's still, what can be wrong? It's just the smell. Like, what it can do bad, but we will dive deep into this topic of discussion. To begin with, I want to ask the common question in a way, because still, if we talk about aromatherapy, the majority of people, what they know, it's okay, it's something for relaxation.
Yes.
So something for maybe stress relief. Why it's happening so? Because we also associate the use of aromatherapy where in wellness clubs, in spas. So that's where we connect. That's the main point where it can help us is for the stress relief. So is that true, and which oils helps to release the stress?
No, definitely. I mean, you know, it's a good question, because going back to what you mentioned in terms of, you know, used in wellness centers, in spas, because it helps us to relax. And obviously it depends on the essential oils that they're using. So for example, you know, you've got lavender, and it has a specific type of alcohol, which is called linalool. And that linalool has a sedative effect. So, you know, diving deep into that essential oil, understanding that that's actually great for it. So you know that you're going to utilize lavender. Now, if you want something more of a uplifting mood, you've got grapefruit. So most of the citrus oils have an amazing benefit in regards to an uplifting mood. And bear in mind that when we're actually inhaling, it's going straight to our limbic system. So when it's going to our limbic system, that's the center part of our brain. So that center part of our brain controls our emotions and our memories. And I'm sure if I'd ask you a question that if you smell something, it reminds you of something, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it really dives into our emotions. So when you're actually smelling, I don't know, grapefruit, for example, and you're like, God, it just reminds me, like, you know, slicing it up in the morning and feeling so alive about it. So it really affects our emotions. So it's diving into, transmitting into our neurotransmitters, straight to our nervous system, and there you go. It goes instantly, the effect. So it's within seconds. That's what's amazing about it. And that's inhaling it.
Instant effect.
It's an instant effect. And that's only just inhaling it. So I haven't even got started at absorbing it on the skin. So.
But you know, I have a tricky question according to your answer, because if we are talking about the memory, so isn't it then the placebo effect, that's because we associate this aroma with particular memory, we're feeling better and happier, but not because really the essential oil doing some magic, or it's the combo?
Yeah. So it's a bit of both. The first bit, as you mentioned about the placebo effect, is because sometimes lavender could be relaxing, and sometimes lavender could boost someone's morale. So you just don't know how it works for some people. And that's why we always say some essential oils may act differently to certain people. So that's very important that we actually let them know before we actually advise them the essential oil. But the other side of it is that it's not just a placebo effect, but it is effective. And this is because there's certain compounds within those essential oils that make it versatile. So going back to, as I mentioned, it being versatile effects. So each of them have a certain compound, and it works for that certain thing.
I see. But what in this case when we associate some of the smell with some bad memories? So even we know that this essential oil, this smell will bring us some positive changes, but somehow maybe some previous trauma, and we associate this smell with something bad happening. And we are applying this oil. What's in this case then?
Well, you know, as I said, it's very diverse, the essential oils. So, you know, for example, ylang ylang, you know, it's a beautiful smell. It's very feminine, but it's actually not so popular with people, because some people say, oh God, it's overpowering, it's too strong. But then it has a great effect to it, but then we can give them an alternative. So things like rose, you know, that one's quite a nice scent. It's still within the floral range. It still has the same compound in regards to it being relaxing, in regards to it being like an aphrodisiac. So anything in regards to that, we can still change it up a bit. So yes, as I said, it's very personal to suggesting aromatherapy, and that's why it's always best to communicate with an aromatherapist, because then they get a better understanding of their, you know, psychological effects, whether it's physical effects as well. So it's very, very important to actually get a good understanding to give them the right blend.
So it's not like that's the standard blend,
just
exactly. Use it for all the cases.
Exactly. I mean, you see it in shops as well, because usually when they have a, you know, relaxing, people go, oh yeah, lavender. Lavender's really relaxing and everything. So everyone suggests lavender to be the most relaxing one, and that's why everyone knows about it.
Yes.
But then when it comes to really diving deep and making sure that it's really effective, it's really understanding the person.
I see, I see. You mentioned one word that I want to focus a little bit more, aphrodisiacs, because also our topic of discussion is connected with the relationships and relationship issues. And of course, how we feel in relationships, it's a lot based on our emotional status. So if we feel frustrated or angry, if we have a lot of stress, so of course it's bringing our mood down, it's create also the issues and problems. So I'm sure there are some oils that can help with the anxiety and with insomnia and the stress relief. But there is another trend, which is the oils that they say like a magic oils in a way. That's the majority of female love them, and you can find it also all around. I keep receiving in some groups, even on WhatsApp, the proposals to get this kind of the oil. That's basically what they claim. By applying the certain amounts and particular oil, it will magnetize your partner in a way that he will be madly in love with you. He will do whatever you want. Like you will, like, sorry to say that, become your slave in a way. So how much truth in that? Is that really so powerful, aphrodisiacs?
No, definitely not. I mean, you know, obviously not going far in regards to it being a very magnetized effect, or whether it's something to be, you know, a love potion, as we like to call it. But it really isn't the case. And I think it's just stemming into the understanding the stresses between, you know, the couple. So understanding, you know, are they stressed out? Is it a hormonal issue? And then when you get to the bottom of it, that's when it becomes more effective. So for example, you know, you've got geranium. Geranium is well known to be a great a hormone balancer. So great for the woman. So when the woman feels a bit like she suffers from, you know, PMS, or she's got premenopausal, sometimes that affects the relationship at times because of anger issues, because of, you know, stress issues, and communication becomes a bit distant. So again, that affects that. So we need to get to the core issue in order to understand what the issue is, in order to provide them the great essential oil for it to be effective. So I think that's understanding it in that point of view. And I think now, while they're trying to sell it to be more of a love potion rather than understanding it, this is when it gets tricky. And we don't even know whether it's synthetic as well. So whether it's therapeutic, whether it's synthetic, whether it's just a fragrance oil, we don't know. So again, it's going back to really communicating with the aromatherapist, communicating with someone who will understand something, a more psychological point of view. Even though, like, we have the oils absorbed in our body, even though it's something inhalation, yes, it's great, and it creates a great mood in the air. Don't get me wrong. You know, you can provide a great blend to kind of diffuse in the air, just to create a good ambiance for it. But in regards of it being the love potion and the magnet, I wouldn't go that far. Definitely not. Sorry. Sorry to break the news. It's not the case, I'm afraid. So yeah, it's more kind of, you know, it's science-based, you know, and this is why I love communicating in regards more of a scientific point of view, and a more alternative medicine point of view. And that's what's great about my background, because I really got into understanding it, and it makes sense. It's basically common sense after that. So,
of course, I totally agree on that. Totally, yes. And you was mentioning about, that you can inhale, you can put in the diffuser, so you can put in the bath. So there are a variety of methods how to use the oils. And if I recall my experience with essential oils, I have a couple of them. One was, there was a session of yoga, which was aromatherapy and sound, which, for example, I'm not a yoga person at all. Like, I hate it.
Not either.
I tried a million times the variety, hot, cold, whatever.
Everything.
It doesn't work for me. Like, I need something more active. Even though I know the benefits of yoga, there are a lot. So it's also about balancing your mind and body together. So it's fantastic. But the only one experience which I at least enjoyed in a way, it was this aroma and sound yoga, where at some point during the exercising, the teacher, she just approached us with some music sounds, and she was applying a couple of drop of the oil. I cannot say that I felt something amazing after, but I think in the combination it worked. The second time, a few years ago, I was suggested that some of the oils you can take orally, basically.
Oh, yes.
So that was one of the experience, and the oils, they were more like citrusy, as far as I remember. So it was for mood uplifting, for energy, for immune system. And then, of course, if we go to any of the spa salon, like the variety of the massage oils that they apply fully on your body. So here the question comes, in which option it's better to apply the oil, and how much?
Yes, that's
Like, is
a good
it
question.
the more is better, or it doesn't work this way?
No, so again, you have different options in regards to whether it's you can ingest it, whether it's something to apply on the body, or it's something to inhale. Now, yes, it has, in my kind of background learning, certain essential oils can be ingested, yes, but I don't really kind of emphasize it too much on it. And the reason why is because it's not as effective as it is as inhaling it or absorbing it on the skin. Now, the reason why is because for example, a peppermint oil. Now, everyone knows that if you suffer from indigestion, the first thing people go for is peppermint.
Yeah.
And yes, peppermint oil is great for the indigestion. It's great for if you have bad stomach. But you can go for a herb. And it's more diuretic. You can infuse it into a nice boiling water. Great
so
tea.
it will be absorbed faster?
A lot faster,
Okay.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Anything that's liquid, it absorbs a lot faster. It absorbs directly into the stomach. Now, when it comes to peppermint oil, it's not as effective. And the reason why for this is because when we're absorbing it, let's say on the skin, so let's say if you're applying it on the skin, because bear in mind, it doesn't just work psychologically, it doesn't work just physically, but obviously physiologically as well. So
Okay,
interior as well.
yeah,
So
okay.
that's just absorbing it on the skin.
Yeah.
So it's going into our lymphatic system, and our lymphatic system is going into our fluids. So our body fluids is kind of moving around our body. So as it's doing that, and as you're doing a good massage as well with the correct essential oils, I should
God.
emphasize on that. That's how it's so effective. Now, if, as you mentioned with yoga and everything, yeah, they do combine it with aromatherapy, and I have attended to a yoga before where they actually do aromatherapy with it. And that's because it creates a great effect as relaxation, because bear in mind, when you're doing all these movements, you could have a muscle ache.
Your body is in stress.
It's in stress, exactly. So you want something where it's more of a muscle relaxer. So it's very clever for a yoga instructor to pass around an essential oil to give you more of a relaxing effect. So that's the only way how it's effective. So I get that. But in terms of ingesting, I don't really advise it as such.
Okay.
So I
is
do
it
prefer.
Like dangerous, or it's less effective?
It's less effective, but also at the same time, not all essential oils are ingestible. That's why it's very important that you make sure when you look at the actual bottle, it's
should
food
say,
gradable.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So if it's not food gradable, you cannot ingest it. It has different grades because we've got therapeutic grade, we've got food gradable, and we've got fragrance as well. Something just that you can put in candles or something.
Yeah, candle and diffusers, like it's
Yeah,
called.
I always say diffuser. I would say use the therapeutic one, because that's the one that's actually going to help you if you want an effect, if you want it to be effective. So, but fragrance, if you want some place to smell nice, just for the sake of it smelling nice, then I'll use fragrance oils. So it has different grades.
I see. So, if, like, how to use the essential again? To apply, how many drops, or if it is with the oil for the massaging, is it like directly, or like what's the proportions?
Oh yeah, no,
like,
definitely not. So you have to use like a carrier oil. So it could be anything, any carrier oil, grapeseed oil, let's say, one of my favorites because it's less greasy, because the people don't like something too greasy.
Yeah,
but if you like something more moisturizing, then go for jojoba oil, coconut oil, anything that you like that's a carrier oil. And then you have like a dilution. There's always a dilution dilution table that well, as myself, I do sort of workshops, so I always suggest a dilution table. Depending how much there is on the carrier oil, then you have to put a certain amount of drops in the carrier oil. Because if you put the essential oil directly on the skin, you can cause irritation because it's super concentrated. Yeah. So it's just like rubbing nettle on your skin, really.
Yeah, it's kind of dangerous.
So it's the same concept. So it's the same thing. So it's like literally concentrated essential oil, making sure you dilute it so it can be nice and safe. But yeah, definitely, it's bear in mind the only essential oil that you can put directly on the skin is lavender.
Okay, that's why maybe it's so popular.
I think that's why, and it's a lot safer because they use it. They can use it on kids as well.
Even you're not an expert, you can suggest to anyone. Use lavender; it's not harmful at all.
Absolutely,
but talking about a lot about benefits, but side effects. We cannot skip this topic because, as you mentioned, yes, it can be the skin irritation. What else? Like overdose, the wrong timing of applying the oils. Like, what's the danger can be behind the essential oils?
Yeah, I mean, aromatherapy is the most safest and effective way of using in regards to, alternative therapy, I like to call it, rather than medicine, because I think it sounds a lot more scary to say alternative medicine, so let's call it alternative therapy. But yes, it really does depend on the person. So if they have a medical condition, let's say if someone is epileptic, I wouldn't suggest rosemary, I wouldn't suggest fennel. All these kind of certain oils could invigorate the whole epilepsy episode. So you have to
can be like life-threatening.
Absolutely,
in a way.
absolutely. It's so important to make sure. Even like certain essential oils can induce labor. So if someone was pregnant, I wouldn't suggest essential oils. There are certain essential oils that we can never suggest, especially when a woman is within 5 months pregnancy and onwards. We never suggest essential oils because some essential oils actually induce labor, which can be very, very dangerous. So risk of miscarriage, risk of anything that's dangerous to the mother and the child. So it's very, very important that we, when we're actually suggesting, we're actually making sure that we know their medical records, we know their medical conditions, any long-term, even if they're taking medication as well. And also citrus oils. That's one of the biggest things, because I know everyone loves citrus oils because it smells beautiful. You've got the orange, you've got the, neroli, even though
I think that's. I've been told that, for example, this vitamin C, you hardly can overdose. Like if you just intake it. So that's why I think everyone is suggesting especially the citrusy, the orangey that you can. Is it the same with the oils?
Definitely not. So with vitamin C, it's very, very different. I mean, it can when you're actually taking the vitamin C, it doesn't cause any danger if you overdose it, because at the end of the day, your kidney is kind of, cleaning it out and, that's it, it's gone. But with essential oils, it's completely different. So with the orange essential oils, because we actually extract it from the peel and the pulp. So whether it's grapefruit, whether it's orange, which is great. And, but the thing is, it's got lemon in it. So that's a certain compound that can be very dangerous for the skin when you're out in the sun. So it can cause pigmentation. So that's why it's very important that when you're applying the essential oil, especially when it's citrus, that you don't apply it and you walk out of the sun, because you're going to have very bad skin condition. You're going to get very bad pigmentation because of the compound of lemon.
So basically, the aromatherapist has to be psychologist, doctor, know the medical history,
there's
scientist.
A lot to it. There's a lot to it, and I think in the going back to the trend, people just tend to think it's just a fragrance, it smells good, but there's a lot more to it.
They truly believe that there is no harm in it.
And there isn't. It's a lot more to it. I mean, people don't they tend to think and go, oh God, it smells nice. Jasmine's nice. Yes, jasmine's good, but what's the effects? What's good for it? Is it good for you? Is it, there's a lot of questions in just one essential oil, and I can go on forever about it, as I said. So,
I would like to be more specific and ask, for example, as coming back to the topic of the relationships and emotions which we have. So if we have the anxiety or our partner, so let's talk about the specific oils like anxiety. What can help in this case? Like which oils and how much and where to put, like what can be. Or like the mood swings, because everyone suffers from this time to time.
It does,
sometimes. We're all humans.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
With the mood swings, the anger. being overwhelmed with some emotions and not being able to control. So what in this case, like specifically which oils can be the
For
treatment
each one.
Yeah.
So one of my personal favorites would be neroli. I love neroli because I call it an all-rounder essential oil. And that's because it's considered as one of the most natural antidepressant.
Oh wow, I never heard about it. Honestly,
Really, it's beautiful. So neroli is usually sourced from North Africa, sourced in Italy, so more Mediterranean countries.
Okay.
So the neroli flower actually comes from the leaves of the orange tree. So it's a beautiful flower, beautiful plant, but it has so many benefits to it. So in regards to it being a natural antidepressant, in regards to it being, you know, if you're always angry, it's great for calming you down. It's relaxing, it's also uplifting. So it has so many, because of all the amount of compounds there is in this neroli essential oil, that it's effective for everything. So I call it the all-rounder. So neroli is perfect for that.
So this is the one, the magic pill.
The magic one, the magic one. And the thing is, it's loved by both men and women. Okay. So that's what's great about it.
It's very neutral.
It's a very neutral scent. So it's not too feminine, it's not too masculine, it's just in the middle. So it's actually loved by both. So definitely neroli is the go-to, I would say. Another one that's kind of more uplifting, as I said, going back, citrus oils. But adding a citrus oil, you can't just have that on its own. So having, like, let's say, which I actually got a few of my essential oils just to give you an example.
Okay.
Grapefruit, ylang-ylang. So these are kind of a beautiful combination because you've got the uplifting mood. So if someone's feeling down and they just got back from work and they're just feeling, you know, and they're ready to argue. So you've got the grapefruit. So the grapefruit oil is quite uplifting.
Before you start talking,
let me just dab that. Let me just dab that into the diffuser before you say anything. So the grapefruit is really great for that. So it's really uplifting. It uplifts the mood. It just smells very fresh. So, you know, you don't feel heavy. You feel a lot lighter. And then with the ylang-ylang, it has that beautiful aphrodisiac. It's, you know, it really entwines to, and ylang-ylang plant is really known to control the women's areas. So most of her hormones, most of everything, her moods and everything, absolute balancer.
Wow.
So it's gorgeous to kind of really compromise with the both blends together. So it's gorgeous.
Oh wow, like that's such an important information, to be honest. So okay, if to differentiate between the professional use in a way with the spa, even though like we had the earlier discussion that you should not trust all the wellness centers that's propose you to use the essential oils, because even there you cannot be guaranteed that they use the proper essential oils, but in a way, there is the professional use of them and there is home use, okay?
Yes.
You don't want to maybe every day do the blend of it, but in general, to keep this nice uplifting mode and energy at home, what can be advised by you?
I mean, there's so many ways of using them. You've got, like, you know, the carrier oil, so you can buy a very big carrier oil and add your own personal essential oils. And also at the same time, you can use bath salts as well. So one of my personal favorites in terms of bath salts is Himalayan salts. And because Himalayan salts contains magnesium, so it helps to relax the muscles. So you can add a few drops, you know, get a bottle, put the Himalayan salts, add a few drops of the essential oils, you know, put a bit of bicarb, because bicarb kind of does the the pH levels of the water. Give it a good shake and apply it onto the water. Beautiful, and it still absorbs into the skin. So there's different ways of using it. You can use a diffuser, so if you want to get like an empty bottle and then diffuse different essential oils into the bottle, so then you have your own blend. So it's easy for you to apply it into the diffuser with the water. There's so many ways of doing it.
And how long the effects staying if you're applying it on skin?
So the effect, as I said...
Or just inhaling, what's the difference between these two methods?
Well, the thing is they're both as effective in the same way, because bear in mind that they're absorbing both in the lymphatic system. So once they're absorbed, it happens instantly within seconds. So once it's there, it's gone. It's already in your system. Because bear in mind, the nervous system, you know, reacts differently. Reacts so quickly. You know, you touch a hot kettle and you know, you're like, oh my God, it's too hot. So it's the same way. It's the same concept. So it's very effective in the most quickest way. Whether you need to apply it constantly, not necessarily. But
not like even every day?
Yeah,
like ATM, mandatory, you know?
It's always best to apply it when you feel you need to. don't, sometimes people might become addictive to it because they'll be like, oh my God, I need to apply it to have the effect. And it's not the case, because then it becomes a bit imbalanced, because if you keep on applying it and you keep doing it and you're like, oh, I don't feel the effect, your hormones will start to be imbalanced, and you start to, it's all psychological. Exactly. So it's just a matter of applying them in the right areas of the pulse points. So where you have the beating, so here, where there's a bit of heat here, even in between like the ankles there and the inside. So just areas, pulse points are kind of the best areas to apply, because bear in mind, while the pulse points are there, it's moving. So it's great in terms of the absorption.
Yeah, and it's also daytime, nighttime, because I believe maybe with some essential oils, like logically, if you find some mood uplifting and energizing and you are applying it at night, you will be energized all night. So
absolutely, yeah. So it's just a matter of how you'd like to feel, because some people would like to be a bit more energetic in the nighttime. Who knows? Like maybe they've got work at night. So it depends on how you like to feel, exactly. So usually at nighttime, I always say it's best to use it for bath oils, or if you want to diffuse it, because diffusers are very, very safe, because they diffuse and they turn off once it finishes. So nice to use it at nighttime while you're when you want to fall asleep. So lavender, if you want something like neroli, as I said, jasmine, all these type of essential oils that are really relaxing and really soothing. If you wanted something more focus-based, so if you really want to keep yourself focused on something or in a situation, you've got rosemary. Rosemary is beautiful for that. Again, as I said, be careful if anyone has long-term conditions, but rosemary is great because what it does, it boosts the blood circulation. And I'm sure if you go back to, you always see that rosemary is always used for the hair, to help with hair growth, but that's because it boosts the blood circulation, so it rushes. So rosemary, I would never suggest at nighttime. Definitely not, because it gets the blood rushing. So if you want something like that, that would be great for the daytime.
I see. So now I would love to jump to the most fascinating part of our discussion, to the practical part, where you bring some of the oils and we're going to make some beautiful blends.
Yes,
Let's
exactly.
do it. Please tell us, what did you bring and what we're going to do?
So I've bought one of my favorite blends. So lavender, ylang ylang, and grapefruit. So this one's to create an uplifting mood. So a really nice, a very great ambiance. It's very beautiful.
Sounds perfect.
It's perfect. It's one of my favorites. So and then I've got the carrier oil here. So here I've got a grapeseed oil, carrier oil. So as I said, it's very important that you actually dilute it. So never put it directly on the skin. So with these essential oils, you've got the grapefruit. So I'll have a little smell of that.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
I wish you could smell it.
I know, I can't really go, but there you go.
Just trust us.
Yeah, just trust us. So it's gorgeous. So the grapefruit oil there. So what we're going to do, we're going to open
How many
this.
drops?
Exactly, that's the good question. So it all depends on the size of the bottle of the carrier oil. So for this one today, this is 5 ml. So we're going to use about 20 drops.
All right.
Believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like quite a lot.
Quite a lot, but it really isn't. So, and loads of people, when they tend to put the drops onto this, they tend to kind of do this. But actually, you've got to warm the actual essential oils, because bear in mind, some of the essential oils are quite thick, and that's because, for example, chamomile, that's one of the thickest, and vetiver, because most of its leaves and flowers are quite waxy.
I see.
So when they extract it, when you leave the oil to like a cool place, it becomes quite thick. So it's always best to really warm the actual essential oils and be very careful in terms of the drops. Now, grapefruit will drop quite quickly because it's citrus, it's quite watery, right? It comes from the peel. So we're going to add a few drops there. There you go.
I'm not counting. I'm trusting you.
I'm using 10
that was
drops
fast,
there. That was really fast, that's why you have to be super careful. I said 20 drops, but we're going to do 15 because I've got 3, but it doesn't matter.
All right.
And
the next one?
The next one, we've got lavender. So the lavender one is the one that helps you to relax. As I said, it goes back to it being the certain compound called lanolol. So linalool is actually known for it to be a sedative effect. So that's one of the greatest compounds.
And you can find it in a lot of like night creams as well to apply.
Pillow mist, everywhere. Like it's really popular.
So I think that's something very familiar with the majority of people.
Exactly. So it's really important that...
And I can see it's thicker, right?
It's a lot thicker compared to the grapefruit that you saw, right?
It was so running.
Exactly, because most of the floral essential oils tend to be quite thick. And the ones, as I said, going back to it, which ones? Chamomile and vetiver, especially vetiver, it becomes quite sticky. Yeah, so you have to be so careful. Now,
and this one?
Ylang Ylang, so Ylang Ylang, again,
you mentioned it's like aphrodisiac. So
this is the aphrodisiac. So this one is like Marmite.
Well,
you either love or hate it.
No, I love it. So now I will not believe you that aphrodisiac doesn't work in the way that was promoted.
Exactly, so there you go. I'm going to promote it. Ylang Ylan's the best for that. It's
smell,
gorgeous. It's such a feminine scent. And that's why it focuses mostly on the women's body. So this one's such a great hormone balancer. Again, this is really thick, so bear with me if I try to, I'm trying to warm it up as such, but as you can see, as I said to you, it's so thick. And hopefully that comes down a bit, but if it doesn't, then we're going to have to warm it up.
Yes.
Yeah, we have to warm it up, or I'm going to have to try and open it here. So, as I said, it's the thickest thing ever. And most of the plants and most of the flowers, you'll always have that. But when it comes to the citrus ones, as you saw, the grapefruit one, it's actually quite runny. So you have to be super careful. Now, obviously, don't do this, please. I'm going to do that because
that's shown by professionals. So
Please don't.
That at home.
Don't, because otherwise you're going to overfill it. It's going to be an absolute mess. And then you'll be angry. And then you're going to say, is this effective for me now? So no. So we're going to do a few of the drops here. So 1, 2, 3.
I feel like we are preparing some magical elixir,
I know, it's like an elixir.
Yeah, it's like a really so exciting process, actually.
It's so fun, and people love doing this. And that's why I love doing like the workshops, because people love enjoying creating blends that's personal to them.
But mainly female are attending your workshops?
To be honest, I have mostly females than males. So I guess it's as a female, you always want to make sure that things are done properly. You want to make sure that you're communicating with your partner. You always want to make sure that things are right, and whether you don't want to be moody all the time. So I guess it's finding the answer, and that's why I have most women who actually come to my workshop. They're men. I haven't had any men yet. So
really, not even one.
No, not yet. No, believe it or not.
What the women do, they prepare all these oils, and they just come to them like, darling, can I apply like a
few drops there,
Yes, being smart.
Exactly.
I love that.
So I've given it a bit of a spin there. So there you go. It's very easy.
Our blend is ready. Yes.
Very quick, very easy to do at home. You can do a big bottle. Great for a massage if you want. Great for as a perfume if you want, just to feel great, and depending on what the effect is. So I'm going to apply it on your, and you tell me how you feel and how it smells.
And should I?
So I always say by each. You just apply it. Yeah, there you go. And then just give it a good rub from each side. There you go, just like that.
Oh my God, it's such a beautiful
gorgeous,
scent.
isn't it?
Yes.
It's so good. It goes a long way.
And you said they bring the effect instantly?
Instantly. So I have no idea. We'll see how you feel now. Just let me know. So as I said, this is an uplifting mood. So, as I said, you've got different blends here, and these different blends have different effects. You want to feel relaxed, but we want to feel uplifting. You want to have a bit of energy. Because even if we feel relaxed, you don't want to feel a bit, you want to feel a bit more like I can do something, I can do this, I can do that. But then at the same time, you've got Ylang Ylang, so the feminine flower. So
absolutely,
definitely.
And such a beautiful scent. Even you don't need the perfume in this case, because
not most of the time. Yeah, exactly. Because it's just natural flowers, and again, bear in mind that make sure it's there. So I'll give you an example. So if you look down here, it says therapeutic grade. So you need to make sure when you're looking at the essential oils, or when you want to purchase essential oils, make sure it's therapeutic grade, especially if you want to apply it on your skin.
I see. So any particular country more famous with the produce of the oils? or it's variety?
It's a variety. All oils, essential oils, come from different parts of the world. That's what's how magical it is. So it's very demographic. So when it comes to, like, for example, as I said, neroli comes from North Africa. So you'll find it in Tunisia, Morocco, Algeria, or Italy as well. So different areas in Mediterranean. If you've got, like, for example, rosemary, rosemary is sometimes kind of the cold countries. Or if you've got lavender, you've got UK, or you've got France as well. So you've got the French lavender and the English lavender. Okay. Both as effective, because people tend to be quite confused and go, but are they both have different effects? No, it doesn't. It just smells different. One's bitter, the other one, I think the one that everyone knows of is the English lavender. But the French lavender is not as used as much. But the French lavender I actually prefer. Because, sorry UK, because I was just like UK French lavender, so UK lavender, I love the UK lavender, but the French lavender, there's something about it where it has that freshness. It almost smells quite citrusy. Okay. So, but they both have an effective effect.
Interesting.
Yes. But they're both effective. So they don't have anything different.
But in any case, it's something that should be personalized in a way. Absolutely. To conclude, it's not something that you just go to the shop and buy these blends and apply every single day and think that's and waiting for some effects.
Exactly. So, you know, you can't just go there. I mean, I think the obvious thing that if you go there and you look at essential oil and they're selling bubblegum scent, then you know for sure that's going to be a synthetic. So yeah, no, it's very important that you communicate with an aromatherapist, make sure the person is licensed, make sure that, you know, when you're asking the questions, ask the questions that you need and you know that's personalized to you as well. And not to go to any other shop just so you can purchase something that's completely synthetic. You know, check it, see if it's therapeutic graded, make sure that it's, you know, if you want something ingested, make sure it's food gradable as well. So it's very important to check those things out.
That's perfect advice. Thank you so much. And I don't know, that's the magic of our discussion, essential oil, but now I think I'm ready for a party. So on this wonderful note, we'll see you next Thursday.
Thank you.